Hey, it's Amber again. I am back with another video in this series of videos about our time in ministry. This is probably going to be my last one, and today is going to be a little bit different. I want to talk about my own personal ministry and things that I did, particularly focusing on Winton Road. And one thing in particular that I got to do, this is probably one of the coolest things that I got to do ever in my life. So let's go ahead and get into that. My personal focus in ministry has always been in service to other people. Now that has taken a lot of different forms. Everything from leading mission teams on short-term mission trips to volunteering as armed security for my church and all the training and education that went into that. So there were a lot of different, I'm still doing it with donkeys, not at church, but donkeys, right? But it's still the very same purpose, is service to other people. A lot of different ways to do that. I'm working through my way through all of them, apparently. But anyway, one particular thing that was so cool that I got to do was back in the early 90s, I got to go on a mission trip to Romania. Me and 4 men from our church went to Romania for 2 weeks, and we worked primarily on refurbishing an old building in downtown Timisoara to house street kids. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Now, before I get into it, there were people who didn't think I should go. I was met with opposition. There were people that thought I was a woman and this is a man's job, and I had no business going and trying to do a man's job, and I was going to hold the team back, and they weren't going to be able to accomplish what they normally would be able to accomplish because I was going to be like dead weight, I guess. I don't know. I agree. I can't do what a man can do. I'm not that strong, okay? But I can do what I can do, and I can still contribute, and I think people should be able to contribute what they can. I was also told that it was morally wrong for me to travel with 4 men. Now, we were never alone, so it wasn't like something was going to happen, and I didn't want anything to do with those guys anyway. I mean, sorry guys, I love you, but not like that, okay? So it wasn't like anything was going to, happen between us, me and one of those guys. We had some crazy times together, funny stories about, hairy legs and all kinds of stuff. We won't get into all that. But there were people that didn't think I should go. And people just thought I was crazy for going. Mission trips are not known for their comforts. They're known for their discomforts. So some people just thought, you're crazy. Why would you want to do that? Go on vacation, But anyway, I got to go. And let me just walk you through a little bit of that trip. When we got there, it was so bizarre because we got into Bucharest and we got off the plane and we were like immediately surrounded by this mob of men who were all yelling at us, and not in our language. We didn't know what they were saying, but you're surrounded by a bunch of men, a mob really, and they're all yelling at us. And we didn't know what they were saying. We didn't know why they were yelling at us. It's like, what have we got ourselves into? Turns out they were taxi drivers and they wanted us to ride their taxi. But we didn't know that at the time. It was just kind of bizarre. So there was that. And then the people who were hosting us in Romania had trucks for us to go in, a pickup truck. So they told me, I'm a woman, we'll take you first. They were going to take us to this, I believe it was a ministry building or something in downtown Bucharest. And they wanted to take me first because I was a female. So they said, go get in the pickup. So I did. I assumed that one of the other guys was going to be riding too. So I get in the pickup and I slide all the way over by the driver. And he's looking kind of like, what's she doing? And then they shut the door and I realized none of the guys were coming. And this was really awkward. And I just freaked out this poor guy. So I scooted back over into the passenger seat and thought, okay, that was weird. But, they put all the luggage in the back of the pickup, and then they drove me downtown Bucharest to this building. And this is the middle of the night, okay? This is probably 1 o'clock in the morning. And he put me out on the street corner there in Bucharest and unloaded all the luggage and left. And here I am standing on a street corner in Bucharest with all this luggage around me by myself, thinking I'm a target. But pretty soon the guys came. He left to go back to get the guys, and they all eventually came, and it was fine. Then we went in and we ate some pretty nasty food. I don't know what it was. It wasn't very good, but we ate it and we were grateful for it, because when you go on a mission trip, and particularly overseas, people sacrifice a lot to provide you with the food that they serve to you. And if you don't eat it, that's really rude, and you probably will lose your witness to those folks. So we ate it, and then we got on this train and rode the train all night to Timisoara, where we were going to be working out of. So we get on this train. It is an old rickety train. And it was a sleeper car. There were 3 bunks on this side, 3 on this side. I slept on the top bunk because I was the smallest one in the group. So I get up there and there are cockroaches, like just scampering everywhere. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to be a girl here, but oh, cockroaches. So didn't want to be a girl. So I took my winter coat off and put them down on top of the cockroaches and kind of smushed them down, and then laid down to go to sleep and tried to forget that I saw that. Yeah. So that was our train trip. We got into Timisoara, and like I said earlier, we were working on refurbishing a building for street kids. So Romania had a lot of kids. The previous dictator, that Nicolae Ceausescu, the communist dictator of Romania, he had been trying to build up an army, quite literally. So there were a lot of kids, a lot of boys, and they didn't have homes. The parents could not take care of them, and a lot of them ended up in orphanages that were horrible. I mean, just horrendous conditions in these orphanages. And I remember seeing Barbara Walters on 2020 do a special on how awful those orphanages were. And they were just, you wouldn't raise animals in those conditions, and these were little kids. It was terrible. In fact, there was a little boy in the orphanage there when we were there, and he had been unable to speak. Not because he couldn't speak, but because of the trauma he had gone through in that orphanage. And after communism fell and the Christians took over the orphanages, he was able, when we were there a couple of years after communism fell, he was able to sing in 5 languages. So pretty cool. But anyway, they had all these street kids. And in Timisoara, there would be like 5-year-olds living on the streets of Timisoara on their own. Nobody to look after them. And they were the meanest little kids. They were mean little kids because they had to be to survive. So we were working on refurbishing this building to house them. It was called, we worked with Jesus, the Hope of Romania. And I believe it was Onesimus Brothers' house is what the building was that we were working on. I believe it was a long time ago, so my memory's not that clear on it, but I think that was the name of it. But anyway, another funny story there were a lot of funny stories, but we had a day off. We worked really hard there, but we had a day off, and our host there took us to Transylvania, up into the Transylvanian Alps to see this castle, this old 15th century Gothic castle. It was not Dracula's castle. There is a Dracula's castle there, but this was not that. It was a different castle. Dracula had spent some time there, but it wasn't it wasn't the castle that was known to be his castle. Freaked him out talking about Dracula, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, Dracula, by the way, was not a vampire. Okay, that is, he was a president or a leader of Romania, and he was a good guy. They liked him there because he was really tough on crime. He fought to protect the Christians from the invading Islamic warriors, whatever they were. Anyway, he was a good guy. He was harsh. He was incredibly harsh on criminals. He was known to throw them down and impale them onto spikes and let them die there like that. Pretty gruesome. So that is where he got his reputation for being bloodthirsty, and Hollywood picked up on that and ran with it and made him a vampire. But his face is on the money in Romania, or it was then, and just he was a good guy. He was a good leader of Romania, and they were very well loved there. But anyway, they took us up to the Transylvanian Alps to see this castle. Now, this was not a tourist attraction. In fact, I don't think we were really supposed to be there, but our host decided, we're going to show them the castle. So we get up there. Me and the 4 guys I was with, we were over here talking, and kind of looking around. Our hosts were over there. Two of them were over there talking together. I think they were trying to figure out what they were going to do with us. And we're talking and we're looking around. There's this bridge, this wood plank bridge going across this big, I don't know if it was a moat. I don't know what it was. It was a long way down there. I mean, if you fell, you were dead. No surviving that. And it looked like the original bridge. It was in bad shape. It didn't look like it would hold a cat, much less a person, much less a group of big guys. So we're talking, how are we going to get over there? Surely we're not going to go on that. That won't hold anybody. How in the world are we going to get over to that castle? And about that time, Fanaki and Gitsa, who were our hosts, they came by and said, come on, let's go. And they started across that bridge, and we're like, are they serious? No way. And the guys kind of went, well, okay, I guess it's all right. So, they went, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to go see the castle today. So I'm like, guys, I'm good. I'm kind of tired. I think I'm just going to wait here, and I'll be here when y'all get back. And Gitsa came back, and he's like, oh, you must come see the castle. You must. And I'm like, no, really, I'm good. I'm just going to wait right here. I'll be here when you get back. No, you must go see the castle. And I'm like, no, I'm sure it's a lovely castle, but no, I'm good. I'm just going to wait right here. And no, you must. And I'm like, no, really, I'm good. I'll just wait. He says, you must. Oh, well, since you put it that way, okay, I must. So I said, I'm going to hang on to you going across that bridge. So I did. I hung on to him. If I go down, you're coming with me, okay? And we got over there. We saw the castle. We went through it with a torch. I'm in Transylvania, going through an old 15th century Gothic castle with a torch. Who does that? Josh Gates does it probably, but me? That's kind of weird. But anyway, it was kind of cool. Saw the castle, we were leaving, everybody goes across the bridge, and I'm standing there going, okay, I guess I'm going to live in the castle the rest of my life, because I don't want to go back across that thing. Once was plenty. And Roy Hauser came back, and he looked at me and goes, what do you want? And I said, I want to hang on to you. And he said, okay, and he gave me his arm. And he probably still has my nail prints in his arm where I hung on to him. And we made it across. I mean, but it was bad. I mean, I stepped on a board, and it, broke. And, my foot went through. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. That's the cool thing about mission trips, though. You put yourself in situations you would not normally put yourself into, and you grow and you learn, and it's awesome. And sometimes you die, but sudden death, sudden glory. I'm just kidding. But yeah, seriously, that is, though, one of the cool things about mission trips is you get outside of yourself, and you get outside of your comfort zone, and you focus on other people. And you will not find a bigger blessing in the world than when you can do that. If you can forget yourself and totally give yourself to serving other people, you will find a joy. You may not feel comfortable. You may not feel happy. You may not have all the comforts of home. But you will find a joy that cannot be described and really probably can't be experienced any other way. It's one of the cool things. So I'm going on 15 minutes here. That is way too long for you to have to listen to me. But anyway, I wanted to share that little story. I almost forgot the coolest thing. Romania had lived under communism, right, for decades, they had not been able to celebrate Christmas. We were there in January right after Christmas, and they were still celebrating Christmas because they hadn't been able to do that for decades. Now, Nicolae Ceausescu, the communist dictator, was captured and executed on Christmas Day. Yeah, and we got to work with and work alongside one of the key figures in the revolution that overthrew communism. So it was really cool because we were like feeling like we were part of history. I mean, it was kind of over by that time, but you kind of felt like we were working with members of Romanian parliament and one of the pastors who was a key figure in that revolution. And he told us that on Christmas Day, when Ceausescu was captured and executed, they came on the Romanian news that evening and said, the Antichrist is dead and Jesus has been reborn in Romania today. Pretty stinking cool. So anyway, go find a way to serve somebody. Go put yourself out there. Do a little bit of self-sacrifice in the interest of other people, and you will find a joy and a blessing you can't find any other way. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I'll talk to you later. Probably won't do another one of these videos though, so go make it a good day.